So April 2nd, 2017, I decided to go and start presenting my thoughts on inside of the YouTube platform, which is an app that if it didn't exist, I don't think the truth would have been revealed over these past 7 years. For me, nothing. It's not Facebook. It's not Twitter. It's not Instagram. It's YouTube. YouTube is the temple in the Bible. That's what's being played out right now. I didn't know that in the beginning. Matter of fact, I didn't even know anybody. I came in innocent, truthful, and disgusted. I was disgusted at all the lies that I seen on the TV screen with the shootings and the bad actors, and I allowed it to sicken me to death, is what I did. So that disgust turned into wanting to speak about it and find the people that are in charge of these events and the stories and the lies. I did a Texas FEMA video at one point. It had like 100,000 views back in 2017. 2017, I got the most views ever. It was the best year, and I was only up for 9 months. Walmart video has about 3 million plus views right now. The Sky opening and closing screenery video in November 2017 has about 500,000 views. And with Walmart, I'm spotting security guards, and I was dead on. And to confirm that I was dead on, Steven James Dishon, he confirmed that, yeah, Robin, of course they're watching you. You're a criminal. You're a thief. And it's like, yeah, no shit. That's what I was. But that's not the point. I'm spotting undercover people trying to act like they're not what they are. Considering that every single person that I pointed out in Walmart as a security guard, I was right, because you have someone like Steven James Dishon, who, according to the website, that there's nobody else. It's not even like, well, there's somebody else that is the vicar of Lucifer, according to the Vatican, the head top leading United States gang stalker in America, top commander of LeBron James, Curtis James Jackson, all the Fitz-James family. Steven James Dishon is that guy in place as the vicar of Lucifer, and there's nobody else. There still isn't anybody else. Now, he said that website came out in 2017 or 18 when I showed up. All right, well, I guess it was an introduction. It's like, oh, okay, Robin, well, here you are, huh? Here I am. Here you are, here I am. Let's see who comes out on top. Well, obviously, Steven James is going to come out on top, because he can do things in secret that I can't. How am I supposed to know anything? I only know what I'm shown through videos with people. It's not like I sit face to face communicating with a bunch of people, collaborating, and stirring up trouble for one individual walking this planet like myself. I don't have that ability. I just have the ability to see it behind the doors and the walls. The closed doors, I can see it. I can go through those doors and interpret what's really happening. So I get the attention as I was looking for. I need to talk to the person in charge. That's what I said in my video back in 2017. I need to find the person that's responsible for lying to me. And if you don't like what I'm saying, send me to the upper management, and then the manager of that management, and then the general manager of that, and then the vice president, and then eventually I need to speak to the devil himself. This world is ran by a system. It's not just a random circumstance. I go as deep as I possibly can into the roots of the beginning of creation. I want to know, how did all this begin? Why is this world so controlled? And why is there such a stranglehold on the people? And how come this system just does not give a flying F about regular poor people? They kind of do. You get welfare, you get some benefits, some checks here and there, and but you know what? It gets cold at night, and people are homeless. And if you've ever been out in the cold for too long, even if you have a bundled up jacket and you're sitting there shivering, people die of just freezing to death. It's the most suffering way that this world is, and it's like, all right, who's in charge? Why are you? What's going on here? So I try to figure out how things began. I explain how I began, and then how I got what I was looking for, which was the attention of those who are in charge of this entire planet's systems. It's not just one system, but it's systems. Like the one who's in charge of the money, the one who's in charge of Hollywood, the one who's in charge of whatever, exchange currency, the money exchangers, the House of Cain. I'm looking for Abel, I'm looking for Cain, I'm looking for Adam, I'm looking for Eve, I'm looking for the serpent in the garden, and there's no question about it that I found them. So as I go searching for the past almost 7 years, within the first 9 months, I developed a bunch of friends, supposedly. They all came in my direction. Some of them even said, like the one Scotty Potty was like, I believe that you're a true prophet. Okay, well that's great. I know I'm telling you the truth. A prophet? I don't know about all that, but because I didn't know really much about anything. I just started searching the Bible. I wrote those I wrote 6-page letters to my boss, David Perlman. As a matter of fact, I gave it to his son, emailed it to him, to Calvin, to send it to David, and that was the 6 pages. Also a 7th page later on, but I sent him the 6 pages, and man, I don't even know if I was fully working for Dave at the time. He was just like someone I would subcontract from. But nevertheless, I sent that information out, and those 6 pages was all about the war coming up and the things that I believe are going to happen in the world. And it just so happened that when I was writing those 6 pages that day, that it was on October 7th, 2016, and then exactly 7 years later, the bombs dropped on Israel. The beginning of these world war rumors of wars started to take place more than ever. Exactly 7 years. And also the other ironic number is that 6 years, 6 months, and 6 days before that, October 7th, the bombs dropped on Israel, was the day I started YouTube. And for whatever reason, that number likes to follow me around. It's on my Mustang's license plate, GSS 9666. It's not that it's a government issued license plate. And I was issued that license plate back in 2008 or 9 when my kid's mom signed over the title. And I can't even get away from that number because in her social security number, she has 3 6s in a row. So, all right. Coincidence, sure. I find a bunch of people on YouTube that all seem to be friendly with me. They made videos about me. They talk highly of me, and I'm telling the truth, and I'm a true prophet. And then Steven James enters into my life after I pretty much met everybody. Steven James comes in. It's the beginning of 2018, and I'm thinking, he reeled me in with Harold Camping in the comment section. He said he was a true prophet. All these good things about my pappy Harold Camping, who warned us about Judgment Day that started May 21st, 2011. In which I also sent letters to my boss, David Perlman, at that time back in 2011 when I was working for him, about the end of the world and the craziness that I thought. I sent it to, according to Steven James, I sent it to my boss, who's the Jewish mafia boss, and then also the Italian mafia, the Ventrescas. Apparently I work for the mafia, according to his own words. So, and then it's like, okay, well, that's great. I hope that's true, because if there was anybody on earth that I would want to be a Jewish mafia boss, it would be David Perlman, for sure. Someone that has a heart that is like someone after God's own heart. Now, that might offend Steven James, because my boss's name is David Perlman, and he's Jewish. So Steven James, who claims to be King David, and he's not Jewish, I don't know, maybe that's offensive. I don't know. So, needless to say, I speak my mind, even if it sounds so ridiculous in a spiritual realm with religion. I'm still going to say it. I sent the letters to everybody that I've worked for, and I kept doing it. I did it again, the 6 pages. Back in 2011, I wrote, I think, maybe 2 pages. I went around handing it out to my neighbors, just putting it in their door, not knocking on their door, just, envelope under the mat. I sent it to my boss, everybody I work for. It's not like they fired me for being a lunatic, speaking about things like the end of the world. I even took 2 weeks off before May 21st, 2011, when I was working for Dave, and because I said, I just want to make sure I get my things in line for when the world ends, like that. He's like, all right, well. And then when nothing happened on that day, Saturday, I remember it was nice and sunny, and it was a beautiful day, and it's like, well, you know what? Time to move on and get back to work. So I called him and said that, and then that's what I did. My boss knows that I'm an unusual character, but I know he loves me. I love him, and he's looked out for me ever since I've worked with them, since I've known them for about 27 years, 24, 22. Ever since my kid was born, around that time, so 21, 22 years old, 22 years ago. Because I was doing I was trimming a house for the, apparently the Italian mafia in Philly, and then Dave walked in the house and I handed him my card, and then I became his trimmer. On and off, subcontracting. But consistently, for the past 5 years. And so once I got on YouTube and all these people became my friends, I was thinking, oh man, this is pretty cool, because I have all these numbers, these people that it almost seems like a family that I met of spiritually awakened individuals. Because if I try to talk about this stuff with people in my family, it's, they get tired of hearing it. They roll their eyes, or be like, yeah, or look off to the side like, oh, here we go again, here's a Robin. So I've learned to channel my energy into the YouTube platform and take it over. And that's why I have so much resistance. So, needless to say, in 2018, Steven James came along, and I'm thinking, I don't know, I mean, maybe he is the Messiah. He's a poor, suffering servant. He has this home in Michigan. He has a tremendous amount of spiritual knowledge and understanding of the Bible. It's like he knows the Bible inside and out, which he does. Even hidden sentences. So, then he's doing this gematria thing, and he shows that all of Hollywood goes by it. All of the government agents go by this book, and it's his book. He's the one that claims that some Jewish man created it, and it was basically like it's his, where he's like, it's like it was a created book for him to just write in it. So he starts writing in it, and it has numeric value of everything, and I come to find out later on, it's all hocus pocus. It's just witchcraft. It's a way of reeling me in all these good positive things said about Harold Camping, and then once I started to disagree with Steven James Dishon, according to the Vicar's website, or the website that he claims is all a lie. Well, no, not all of it. But according to the website, when you type in his name, it'll pop up. It'll pop up Vicar of Lucifer, the Vatican's Vicar of Lucifer, the Vatican, the spot that runs the world. Yeah, them. They put his name there. That's the guy. There's no other person on planet Earth that has that title besides Steven James Dishon. So, as he's saying he's poor and suffering, and he can't pay his cable bill, I paid his cable bill. I sent some more money at a certain point, and then it was getting to the point where everybody was turning against him. All the people that were on my side started to turn against Steven James, and I'm thinking, it's pretty messed up. This guy is living in Michigan. He's like possibly the Messiah, and I'm gonna help him with whatever I can. So now I did a video, Time to Make a Stand for SJD, on July 2nd, 2018. From that moment on, Steve was in his glory. absolute glory. I'm sticking up for Steven James Dishon. I'm telling you all his numbers match. 1212, 202, 1867 in gematria. All about the Messiah coming, right? The moment I did that, everybody who was my friend coming against Steven James, they turned and came against me because I stood up for him. And then Steve was basically the only one I was talking to at that time. So he thought he had me good. Even the very elect shall be deceived, if possible, for however long a period of time. It took 2 months to realize, wow, this guy is the devil. And he's now coming after me with threats that, because I started to not believe certain things that he was saying after I made a stand, and then I started to hear, like the the subliminals of threats aimed towards me, but not specifically saying my name, but I knew what he was talking about. It's a different language. I was picking up on the serpent's language, the serpent in the garden. So I continue on with my YouTube world, actually feeling sick to my stomach that this guy is now, because I had conversations with Steven James, numerous amount of conversations over the phone, about 6 or 7 FaceTime, face-to-face, you and I, face-to-face, and a gazillion text message. The final text message was, "I'm a waste of breath, and if failure to communicate will cause a train wreck." So the threats from Steven James Dishon says, failure to communicate will cause a train wreck. So I blocked him and stopped talking to him. But then he started making video after video after video after video after video of it. Robin Henry T's this, Robin Henry T's that, accusing me of everything that you could possibly accuse me of, as a liar, false prophet, a bullshit artist, CIA agent, FBI, snitch, worked for the mafia, everything that you can think of, he spoke about and lied straight through his teeth without a problem. The accuser of his brethren, day and night, day and night, day and night, day and night. So for about 2 years straight, out of 1,000 videos, at least 990 of them were about me. No exaggeration. Maybe a little bit. To be really realistic, if there was 1,000 videos that Steve made, over 900 were about me. The ratio is 9 out of 10. A very unusual obsession about me, who's nobody from nowhere. I didn't even have a father at the time when I started YouTube. I'm just by myself. So all these videos, all these sound bites that I haven't even gotten to display just yet, of slandering me, and then turning around and saying I'm slandering him when he's the liar, because there's no question about it. You're lying about me. I know I'm telling the truth. You can't convince me that you're not lying, and I am. And that's what the brainwashing is, and that is the truth on that website, where he's as if he's John the Baptist, but yet brainwashing, baptizing people with his water. Because if you tell a lie long enough, you'll get people to believe it, and you may even convince yourself that you're lying when you're not. top Luciferian, head United States leading gang stalker in America, is only getting warmed up with me. So I look at it, and then I'm so disgusted that this person is lying about me. I've never been attacked like this in my life. It just didn't make sense, besides my kid's mom, who would attack me, but that's like a relationship to kind of, you don't do something for her and she start flipping out demonically. Well, it's the Jezebel spirit. It's no different with Steven James. It's the same spirit. Now, but here's the thing. Steven James Dishon will make a great Christian. He will. Why is that? Because he's such a faithful servant of the devil. It reminds me of a story that Stephen Benoom was just talking about this morning with a friend of his named Louis-Lucifer. Yep. He'll make a great Christian one day. He will. I guarantee it. So, in the meantime, the hardest thing to understand or believe is that Steven James Dishon is on my side. That's the hardest thing to believe. How is the devil himself on my side when he's attacking me nonstop? Well, because this is WWE. Because Jacob Israel claims he was a writer for WWE, and that's what this is. It's all actors. The Bible even says, don't be afraid of their faces and their threats. And that was talking about Steven James Dishon, by the way. So I just continue on day in and day out, no matter what. I just assume everybody's watching my video anyway. I speak as if my own boss is watching my videos and his son are assigned to watching my channel. It doesn't have to be true. It's just when I work as if I'm being watched. Am I not being watched? How about that vacuum incident back a couple years back? Remember that? Am I being watched? Am I being surveilled? Even though there's no cameras watching me? All right, well then you know that I'm awake. So I talk as if somebody is listening and they have questions, like Trevor the one time, my own stepson. He wanted to talk about some things I was talking about because my wife didn't understand what I was doing on YouTube, and Jacob Israel told me about the Daily Show with Trevor, and he's like, I don't really like Trevor. But you know how everybody lies, and what he says he doesn't like, he does. And it's funny because my stepson Trevor actually looks like Jacob Israel. And I said it to Jacob the one time. I'm like, you look like my stepson. It's crazy. And so me and Trevor met up at Beersheba. We talked about it, and he just wanted to know, like, are you going to admit that you're wrong in the end if nothing ever happens? And with Philadelphia, what? It's not that you admit you're wrong. It's I have predictions. I have a belief system. I feel like Philadelphia is the target. I'm not wrong for saying the things that I'm saying on YouTube because the purpose was to get everybody's attention, to draw all men unto me, because that's what God needs me to do. I need to get everybody's attention, and it's ramping up to the point where that's coming into play. So as I sift through the things that I need to go through, knowing that even if people are assigned to watching my videos, they may not even understand why. You may have an assignment from your boss, and it's just you're just a trained reviewer. You're looking out for keywords to do timestamps like I do with everybody. Basically, it's like everybody is like me, but I'm the only one like me. I'm doing the same work that you're doing, but I'm doing it towards everybody, and you're only doing it towards me. Many of yous are focused in on just me, and I am focused in on all of you. And I'll do more timestamps and gathering information because it's important for me to decipher who these people are. Especially like Skip Heitzing and Kim Jean and Paul Tiller and Robert Breaker, the four church individual entities that are right now explaining what I need from them. And Steven James is his role is to be my enemy all the way through to the very end. So what does that make him? What does that make Steven James as my enemy? Even though I've prayed out loud for him that people would help him financially, even though I believe it's all a script, but just in case if it isn't. And then the very next day, his 88-year-old father passes away. He says he was a good man. So in other words, he's going to heaven. In other words, he's in heaven. And he left a small fortune for his son because Steve said, I'm not even going to need money anymore. Rabin, you don't need to worry about me, pal. Well, I'm not worried about you. It's just, but I have to step into the script world and make that a reality just in case, if what you're saying isn't actually true, because you are a liar, the biggest one on the planet. And then now all of a sudden you lost your inheritance and you said it was stolen, just like Esau's birthright was stolen from Jacob, your brother, Jonathan Click. The angel of the Church of Philadelphia, the one that's running Philly right now. You're not from Philly, Steve, right? Aren't you from Michigan? Aren't you the only one that's not from Philly? Or aren't you the only one that's not part of the group? Like Judas was the only one that wasn't, out of the apostles, he was the only one that wasn't from that area. However, he knew that area very well, didn't he? He knew the Garden of Gethsemane, of Eden, Logan Square, the dead center of Philadelphia. He knew that place very well. Steven James Dishon knows Philly very well. He has a video. Well, you delete a lot of your videos now because now you're introducing yourself to my boss through presenting yourself. I don't know who you're presenting yourself as besides Steven James Dishon and me being a shit-talking, I don't know, what am I, a racist, anti-Semitic, whatever you say. Because what I do is I've learned that people in the positions that they're in now, like my boss, David Perlman, I never told him, but I did tell his son yesterday on the phone because he wanted to know who's Steven James Dishon. All right, well, this is who he is. According to the website, when you type in his name, I told him he's the top Luciferian vicar of Lucifer, the top leading gang stalker in America. That's what is written about him. I don't know anything else other than what's written about him besides what I've searched out the matter on my own. So now Steve is introducing himself to the Jews. Now why would Steve go that far? If I'm a liar and what I say is irrelevant, why would somebody pay attention to a liar so much? Well, you know what? Why do I pay attention to Steven James Dishon so much? Because he's the biggest liar on the planet. Why would you pay attention to the biggest liar on the planet? Because that would be the Antichrist. That's why. I would pay attention to the biggest liar because he never stopped. Yeah, I could have not watched any of his videos, but I know that he has the world script in his hand, and he's proven to me that he knows what's going to happen on the news before it happens. Either he's a time traveler, or he's the one that's creating the events, or he's someone that, at the very least, knows what's going to happen and is part of writing these scripts. Like Ned Peppers getting shot up, him doing a Stuffed Peppers video. This was back in 2018, 19. I pay attention to people that run the planet, and I know it. And they know that I know it. But they also know talking about it out loud is the X factor. Because I know how ridiculous it sounds, but yet I know it's the truth, and I'm sticking with it. So this is all an act. I have the Antichrist coming after me. And I'm nobody. From nowhere, I don't even have a living father. Not even from the beginning of the YouTube platform. I don't have like a father to go to and bounce ideas off of and things like that. This is everything I've done on YouTube was fatherless. But yet, David Perlman is like my second father. And Calvin's like my half-brother. And I respect Calvin, I respect Dave. I respect people in high positions of authority. Because you're placed there for a reason. And you're born for a reason. And Philadelphia it's where it began. Right here in Philly. This is where it all began. So, with Dave coming over from New York, owning the corner building of 7th and Sampson, which is the Jewelers Row in Philadelphia, the most famous Jewelers Row in Philadelphia, where all the silver and gold is. The corner building, well, that's Dave's building. So that makes him the king of Philadelphia in my view, my eyes. That's how I look at it. He's a king. He's here in Philly, and he's like he's like a second father to me. I text Dave a long text message about 3 years ago saying, this is just some advice. I just gotta say it. You don't even have to respond. But you should buy a farm close by, considering that you have the means to do it in case the economy collapses here in Philly. And then you'll be self-sufficient to, because I'm looking at the second 9/11 happening in Philly and crushing the economy right here first. And then, but if you have a farm where you have running well water, you have chickens and cows and eggs, I mean, you're good to go for the entire time, just like like the famine that happened in the Bible with Pharaoh and Joseph, giving that advice to the Pharaoh, and then the 7 years of plenty, and then here comes the 7 years of not so plenty. It looks like we're in that area right now. But it also looks like we're at the end of the 14-year period, 13-year, 14, because the 7 good years of plenty started in 2011 up until 2018. And then here came those disgusting, ugly as all hell, thin cows, I believe they are, that go eating up the fat cows. And because the next 7 years from 2018, because that's the 70th year anniversary of the nation Israel becoming a nation again. How many times you gotta How many times you gotta forgive Steven James Dishon? 70 times 7 for 70 years, and then 7 more, because he's going to be slandering my name the entire way through, and his job is to try to eliminate anybody around me and to turn everybody against me. That's his job. Is my family on my side? Or are they all controlled by Steven James Dishon? Well, only they would know that. And Steve. Is the whole world controlled by a gang-stalking leader? Does everybody have some type of communication to do a certain little, like a tactic? Just a simple, you would know what it is. It's like a cut off, step in front of, be in the eyesight of, always mirror me. The devil likes to imitate anything about God. Anybody that sticks up for God, anybody that claims the truth, you will be attacked. So I have expected to be attacked and to be left alone at the very end. And if it doesn't happen, well, then it's because of, however I presented my case throughout. But I'm not going to hold it against anybody if everybody turns against me because of some type of fear from the head United States leading Luciferian gang stalker in America, who is on my side. Who actually, here's the most ironic thing about it. My biggest enemy on this planet is somebody who is now introducing himself to my boss. In a negative way, of course. It's not like, hey, I'm Steven James Dishon, Robin Henry Tees I worship him. I can't get enough. I can't stop. He crushed my head and healed it. I'm healed now, but I'm acting like I'm not. So there's the difference. How can you accept that? How can I love somebody that is trying to destroy my world? Because at the end of this world, the new one that starts up with the new system, I'm going to be in charge of it. That's how. But this system has to collapse first. That's why I encouraged my boss to buy a farm close by. Don't you know, 9 months later, it's like planting a seed. Whether he was already thinking about it or not, the fact remains, he did. He bought a farm. It's close by. I gutted the entire house. Me and my brother, but mainly me by myself. I gutted the entire farmhouse. I didn't do all the trim work because I would have loved to, but I was busy. And it's all finished now, and guess what? When the economy collapses, well, I know I have a place to go to get some water. If I'm thirsty, some well water, some eggs from the chickens. Just as long as you don't let Steven James Dishon interfere and try to convince you of whatever, like me being whatever he's trying to do at the moment. So I look at how everything is not by random circumstance. I'm looking out for the best. I'm looking out for people's spiritual condition. It doesn't matter if you're a Mason. It doesn't matter if you're a Freemason. It doesn't matter if you're acting like you're not, or if you are in a certain degree. I don't care if you're a Muslim. I don't care what color you are. It doesn't matter what nationality you are. None of that matters, because that's all division caused by the devil himself. And he's making himself known, or at least the devil is entering into Steven James Dishon at this time, once again. or he is going to enter into someone that's like Judas all over again, like Matthew Daly. So I look at the two brothers as Steven James Dishon and Jonathan Kleck representing Philadelphia, because the art museum, I drew a picture of it, and it's Jonathan Kleck's face being eaten by a serpent rising from the sea. When you look at the art museum footage in a 45-degree angle facing west, you'll see how it's a serpent rising up out of the Schuylkill River. And the face that has the headphones there and the one eye winking, blinking at you, Jonathan Kleck being eaten by a serpent. And another serpent behind him, which is the tail. So you got the tail, which is Steven James, the lies, drawing a third part of the angels of heaven with his lies. And then you got the mouthpiece, the speaker. You got Jonathan Kleck being eaten by that serpent. This is all Philadelphia landscape where it began, right here. So I look at it as, well, what if, because everything's in secret, right? What I say out loud, if it's true, well, then it's true. Why would anybody get mad at it? I figured it out. So I look at it as, there's two Davids, a dark David and a light David. Like two King Davids, two Cabals, two Jesuses, two Lucifers, two this, two that. Everything's double. Everything's intertwined. When you have Steven James as a dark David, because the evil, the lies, the spewing, even though whatever he says on record sounds good, the only thing he's doing is lying about me. And then Jonathan Kleck is more of a like a good-hearted, like an actual. Jonathan Kleck's heart reminds me of David Perlman's heart. So I've said this before. Wouldn't that be funny if my own boss was really Jonathan Kleck? And he's like laughing right now, like, how'd you figure it out? But to look at it more realistically, maybe my boss doesn't even know who Jonathan Kleck is, because Jonathan Kleck is a character on YouTube, and there's a boss of a boss of the boss. So whoever my boss's boss would be, because you got to answer to somebody. Everybody answers to somebody. I answer to my boss. I answer to his son, which is my boss. And then they answer to their boss, and whoever their boss is. And then, at the very top level. So I've said it, well, what if King David, the angel of the Church of Philadelphia, what if Jonathan Kleck, what if my boss David Perlman actually represents Jonathan Kleck, a man after God's own heart? His name's David, and he's the king of Philadelphia. What if that was true? And then considering Christ comes from the seed of David, in the building industry, your predecessor, your son, the seed of David, would take over the business. So I'm looking at it as literal as it can be. Maybe they've never even thought of it, but I do. And then there's the spiritual seed of David, which is Christ. And that comes from the YouTube platform. There's a King David on YouTube. He's being, harassed by King Saul. I mean, I know that feeling. In spirit, I know I've been harassed by Steven James. He's been coming after me for 6 years now. But I have a feeling it started back in 2011. Matter of fact, I think it started when my wife came in my direction. I think it started when my kid's mom came in my life. So it's been going on for a long time. But Jonathan Kleck always does videos as if he's kind of isolated, but has visitors coming, like Paul when he was in prison, because he got Zach and Corey. And but that's the funny thing is, Paul used to be Saul, and Saul was the one chasing David. Because Steven James claims he's King David on earth. He's king. He's definitely a king. There's no question about that one. But acting like he's a poor suffering servant, acting like he had this inheritance from his dad, and then all of a sudden acting like it just got stolen, just like acting like Esau's birthright just got stolen. So he could be juxtapositions as Jacob the deceiver, trying to take the birthright of Esau, acting like he's the devil, you know, taking on the role as the biggest liar on the planet, but really being the one who will rule as El the Almighty God, Israel. These are all acts. But who's really who? Who has really been struggling with that, with the angel of the Lord? Jonathan Kleck, Steven James, all the above, both of yous. So there's a seed of David, and Christ comes from the seed of David. Now, in the beginning, Christ comes to the Jews. They reject him as his Messiah because their Messiah is actually Lucifer, who's acting like Jesus, because he's the one stealing the birthright of his brother. And then, so as Christ gets rejected, then he goes to the Gentiles, which reminds me of going from Jerry from Elida Church, Derek from Aglapa Church, Justin Michael, Tyler Mullen, the Sater twins, and Boldly, and all of those people, and Steven James Dishon, going to them first. They befriended me, then they all backstabbed me, every last one of them. And then I'm like, you know what? The hell with yous. I'm going to go over here to Skip Heitzing, and I'm going to go over to Kim Jean, and I'm going to go to Paul Labout Tiller, and I'm going to go back to Robert Breaker, and I'm going to go hang out with these Gentiles for a while, and I'm going to get them on my side. I'm gonna get their attention, and they're gonna teach me what I need to know, and then I'm gonna go back to the same people that rejected me and stabbed me in the back with all these wounds, all these knife marks on my back. I'm gonna go back to them, but this time I'm gonna go back to them with the art museum footage, which is like a mighty rushing wind that just on 3/23/2023, which was my wife's 48th birthday, between 3:30 and 4:01, I recorded 8 songs of surrender in the art museum by U2, and I did my footage walking in there side by side. I blew it up, I put it together. As I'm playing the songs, half of them didn't even have videos, so I didn't even know what they were showing in their videos as I'm showing my footage. And when I'm showing my footage, and if anybody has time to sit there and watch it, you will see beyond a shadow of a doubt that my footage that I recorded for the first time in my life this year is exactly identical, frame by frame, step by step, shadow by shadow, shape by shape, color by color, as U2's videos that I was playing in the art museum. All 8 songs lining up. It's so impossible that your brain will first say there's no way in hell that that's true. But we are in hell, so there is a way in hell. It is true. My footage was used 30 plus years ago in U2's videos. That's the mighty rushing wind that everybody's talking about right now. That Skip Skip's talking about, Paul Tiller's talking about, and most likely Robert Breaker's talking about it today. It's such a miracle that I even found the idea even popped in my head to go make music videos in the art museum for the first time in my life with all 8 U2 songs of Surrender as U2 Surrenders. Why is Steven James Dishon coming after me? Just look at all the similarities. It's like defeating the 450 false prophets on Mount Carmel and then Jezebel coming after Elijah. That's what it's like. Yeah, I got a great victory, but guess what? Here she comes. Oh, here she comes. Watch out, boy. She'll chew you up. Right, Steve? There's a part in the Bible, it doesn't say Jezebel, but whoever the worst of the worst leader winds up turning on their own people, meaning the evil part of their own people, and hopping on Team God. So that's all that's going to happen in the end. In the meantime, I got to go through this nonsense. I got to go through this acting. Steve's starting to make it more real now because he's introducing himself to my boss. Trying to, trying to get them to fire me. I mean, what would be your goal, Steve? Why would you call David Perlman and leave some messages about whatever? About me talking out loud saying, what if David Perlman was Jonathan Kleck's representative on earth in Philadelphia as King David, but really Jonathan Kleck is actually King David. But in spirit, I'm doing exactly the same thing that King David did by slaying Goliath with 5 smooth stones. 5 of them. I can throw Steve Bannoon at you. I can throw Jonathan Kleck at you. I can throw Skip Heitzing at you. I can throw Kim Jean at you. I can throw Paul Tiller at you, Steve. I can throw all of them right at your forehead, crack you dead in your forehead, and you'll look like my dad, who's sitting behind me in my baby picture with the all-seeing eye looking through the top of my head with a cracked skull. That's what you would look like. You would look like Akhenaten and Nefertiti, 1300 BC, before Christ. You have this hieroglyph, and at the same time, my baby picture is very unusually similar, just like the similar, unusual art museum footage, just like the Scorpion video I recorded with the Beyond a Shadow of a Doubt. All these things are true, and that's why I would have the Antichrist, literally, the Antichrist is coming after me. I'm just Robin Henry Tees. Remember, Steve? I am Robin Henry Tees. That's it. That's all I am. Why do you continually make videos about me? Why are you starting to attack? Why are you starting to try to attack the rest of my life? Because your 450 false prophets got smashed on Mount Carmel? Maybe. Maybe the devil knows that his time is short, so he's going to cause all this wrath to come out. Maybe it's because I said, what if Calvin was the seed of David, representing the Christ? What if that was what if that was part of? They might not even know that that's what that is, but what if that was planned out by Jonathan Kleck, the angel of the Church of Philadelphia? What if? I do a lot of what ifs. What if this? What if that? So I go over these scenarios, and I've gotten threats of my life. I'm going to get shot with an AK-47 and drug out of my house back in 2018. I still do videos every day. It doesn't matter. I'll still talk about my biggest enemy on this planet, who can make my life a living hell as much as he's going to try to do it. Because he knows his time's short, don't you, Steve? Your time's short. That's why it's time to make... Basically, it's like this. Steve's role is running out. He's tired of even acting angry and evil and sounding that way. But he has to follow through with the role. Because once this is over, now he's going to do what I need him to do. As Leviathan, the slanted serpent, God's toy. It's God's toy. It's his hand puppet. He's going to get him to do everything. And he's just using me to do it. So that's what happens in the end. But in the meantime, Steve has to follow through with his script. And his script is to be the biggest D-bag liar against me on the planet. Even though I'm the only one that he truly respects, because he can't stop me. I'm going to stop you. Sure, it sounds fantasy land. It sounds all, but it's real. It's real. It'll get real. When Philly gets hit, especially if it happens on Christmas, then that would explain even more why Steve is introducing himself. He's like this. Yes, hello. Hey, David Perlman. Yeah, this is Steven James Dishon. I'm Asu Manuel, all right? King David, the poor suffering servant. Yeah, well, your employee, Robin Henry Tees, he's lying Nephilim Antichrist, and he hates Jews. All right, so you're going to need to fire him now, or I'm going to gang stalk you. Watch out, Dave, you're going to get gang stalked by the guy that's been harassing me forever. To start off with, let's block the road. Oh, yeah, let's do that. So for anybody wondering who Steven James Dishon is, he's my employee. He works for me. He works for me. I don't pay him. He's going to pay me. He's going to give me the Powerball numbers. He's going to act like, considering I won the Powerball, now I'm going to be demonically possessed, and he's going to act like it's going to affect me, and I'm going to turn against God. And he knows damn well that he's giving me the Powerball number because he wants me to take over the currency. He wants me to. He's just acting like he's my enemy. I've already crushed Steve's head a long time ago with my foot, and then I healed his head by stepping on his head with my heel. That's how that happens. But yeah, so it's gonna get good. It's getting good, because once the event happens in Philly, that's it. There's the end of it. That's like the last thing that the devil has, because I'm going to meet him there at the event that he had already planned out from the beginning of creation. And I'm telling you where it's going to happen at, in Philly. And it has everything to do with 17th and JFK, because when you flip that $50 bill and fold the $50 bill, it's the exact building, Chase Bank, Penn Center Building 8, 17th and JFK. That's where it begins, and you can bank on it.